We're going to get ready to start here in a couple of minutes, but I do want to say it's just great. There's so many of our faculty, staff, students during spring break that are here, and certainly a lot of our community members, our business supporters, alumni, retired faculty, just a great group. So we appreciate you being here. And the only thing I did want to say is that I can remember, and I think the faculty and staff will remember, 5 years ago when Dr. Veazey came to a faculty meeting in April. And she said, I just got a call that we have been nominated to be one of the top 10% of community colleges in the top 120. And she said, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know much about it, but it's such a great honor to be in the top 120. Because, you know, we had talked for years, a lot of awards you have to apply for, and, you know, you have to kind of seek those nominations and those awards. But this one, you know, we were always talking about we need to do that, but we didn't really have time or put the time into it that we needed to because we had so many other things that were going on. But, you know, at this point, it was a surprise because what happens is they go into the national databases and they pull off the data, and that's where they found the top 10% of the community colleges, the top 120. And from that, then you do go through an application process where you explain why your numbers are so high in comparison to the rest of the nation. So that's what our application process has been about, that so many of you have been here for. And there's been a lot of hard work, and we've certainly come a long way from 120 to being for the third time in at least the top 10. And we got plans today. We hope we're at least up there somewhere. But, you know, if we're not, we're still very, very glad to be in the top 10, you know, for the third time. That's an incredible achievement. And I believe they're going to start here in a few minutes. I think it's at 11:23, and I think we're coming upon that. But as you do have a little bit of, you have an agenda there, and they will follow that. There's some other people who might speak within that. Our student is going to speak. We have Justin Jackson is speaking for us. The presidents will be announced. I think it'll probably be a good 30 or more minutes into it before they actually do the actual announcement.
It's great to see so many friends here in the audience from my former job running the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for Hispanics, working with Secretary Duncan and with President Obama. It's great to see all the old friends again. Some of the new friends who are now working as I'm at my new job at PBS. But I just wanted to say thanks for kind of being here with us today. I also wanted to mention up front that for all of you who are tweeting, and you should be, the hashtag is hashtag Aspen Prize. And if you want to make sure everyone back at home gets to see you right now, make sure you let them know that they can watch this. We're live streaming today, so they can go to aspeninstitute.org/live. So make sure you send that to everybody if you haven't already, so folks can make sure they see you when you're here with us today. When Josh and Lee and the friends, all our friends over at the Aspen Prize team asked me to both serve on the jury and to consider hosting this event, this was easy to do. Because as all of you know here today, this is not just about representing the top 10 best community colleges in the country. This is about the broader notion of the importance of community colleges to the higher education system in the country. You all know better than anyone else that our community colleges today are the ones that are getting it done. They're making sure that there's a pathway for our folks, more than 13 million students nationwide, to help them to get to those critical jobs, to make sure that they're continuing with their education. And we know that it's a sector within the higher education sector, that in more places than anywhere else, it's within our community colleges where folks of color, minority students, low-income students, those of us who were the first ones to go to college in our families get that chance. And it's a sector that at the end of the day, because these things matter to us as individuals with our kids, I think about my kids, your kids, it holds the prices low, it opens its doors wide to make sure we can all kind of be there, and it is the anchor for us in our communities to make sure we're kind of getting it done. As President Obama has said, in the coming years, jobs requiring at least an associate degree are projected to grow twice as fast as jobs requiring no college experience. We will not fill those jobs or keep those jobs on our shores without the training offered by community colleges. With the changing economy, no one has lifetime employment. but community colleges provide lifetime employability. And so we're here today to celebrate the sector and those incredible institutions that are leading the way for us on the community college front. The Aspen Prize itself really looks to 4 key areas. There are 4 big questions that we look at on the jury that are the key to identifying the top 10 community colleges and also the top of those top 10. Number 1, certificate and degree completion. Do students earn associate's degrees and other meaningful credentials while in community college and bachelor's degrees if they transfer? Number 2, student learning. Do colleges set expectations for what students should learn, measure whether they are doing so, and use that information to improve, to get better? Number 3, employment and earnings. Do graduates get and keep well-paying jobs? With a 26-year-old and a 25-year-old, this one's really important for me. And number 4, the high levels of access and success for minority and low-income students. Do colleges work to ensure equitable outcomes for minority and low-income students and others often underserved? With that, let me introduce our first speaker for the day, Ellen Alberding. A lot of you know her. Ellen is the president and board member of the Joyce Foundation. They're the organization that first envisioned the Aspen Prize and to help make this whole thing a reality. Through her leadership at Joyce and in many other initiatives at the national, the state, and the local level, Ellen has really kind of walked the walk and using her time and her position to advance economic opportunity for all, especially low-income individuals. Ellen.
And welcome to Dr. Biden as well. I just have a couple of opening remarks before I introduce our honored guest. First of all, I just want to say how proud the Joyce Foundation is to be supporting the Aspen Prize. It really does define excellence for the community college system and for the potential of community colleges to help low-income and minority students make it on the road to economic success. And of course, that's really important for those individuals, and it's really important in our country. We're having a debate in our country right now about income inequality, and the debate is not that there isn't income inequality. The debate is how to fix it. And I think sitting in this room, we have solutions that are going to be really important for the entire country to learn from. There are a lot of challenges in each of your colleges and in each of your jobs. We know that state funding for higher education is being cut. We know that completion rates are not what they should be. And we know that higher education is required to deliver quality degrees to such a diverse student body. But what we're here to do today is to celebrate achievement despite these challenges. I want to say that this is personal for me. I've had 2 instances in my life, both as a teenager and after college, where I attended community college to learn skills that I did not have. And in both of those cases, what I saw in the classroom were teachers who were so dedicated to helping me and every other student in the classroom, often in very tough circumstances. Wow. So. That's my segue to introducing a passionate educator who knows what she's talking about because she's been in those classrooms and she knows what it's like, both for the students and for the hardworking individuals who are trying to help those students along. The Aspen Prize grew out of a 2010 White House Summit on community colleges. I was at that summit, and so was Dr. Biden. And I sat in, the back of the room thinking, what could the Joyce Foundation do to move this along? We have a commitment to the populations that are being talked about here. We know how important community colleges are. So we did sort of cook up the idea of this prize. And I'm very, very proud to say that both our funders and Dr. Biden have stuck with us for quite a number of years. So with that, I just want to introduce one of the most important people for all of us in this room, Dr. Jill Biden. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ellen. I love that a teacher made such a difference in your life. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And I love the work that you are doing to help more students succeed, and it's truly making a difference. You know, now more than ever, Americans are relying on community colleges as stepping stones to a college degree and a better future. Our nation's prosperity, strengthening the middle class, truly depends on our higher education system delivering more high-quality degrees to an increasingly diverse group of students. Helping more students go to college, stay in school, and earn their diploma is vital to the future of our economy, because in the next 5 years, 2020, 2 out of 3 job openings will require some form of higher education. That's why I believe that this is the moment for community colleges to shine. And the institutions that Aspen honors today are leading by example. Congratulations to all the Aspen Prize finalists. These schools are reinventing what it means to be the community's college. They're partnering with local employers to provide students with the skills they need to move into jobs that already exist in their communities. They're creating clear-cut, affordable pathways for those who want to move on to a 4-year university. They're providing the flexibility that is needed for working parents to pursue their degree or obtain new skills. The Aspen Prize gives us the opportunity to highlight the best of the best, to celebrate community colleges that are excelling, and to give other schools the opportunity to consider adapting those best practices on their own campuses. So thank you to the Aspen Institute, the supporters, and the many people who have worked so hard to get to this day. You have helped these institutions to get the recognition they so rightfully deserve. Both in my classroom at Nova, and I see my president here, my other president, and when I'm on the road visiting community colleges across the country, I am fortunate to see the tremendous impact that community colleges have on so many students. I see it in students like Erica, whom I met in Gainesville, Florida just last week. And as she told me, Erica almost dropped out of high school due to a bad relationship with algebra. As a mother of 3, when Erica decided to go back to school, she found that the flexible class schedule, the support and encouragement from the teachers and faculty at Santa Fe College were exactly what she needed to succeed. Not only did Erica pass her classes, but she thrived in the community college atmosphere. She was a student ambassador and participated in the honors program. After earning her degree at Santa Fe College, she is now enrolled at the University of Florida. I see it in Christopher, who I also met last week, a community college student whom I met at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. After high school, Christopher chose an out-of-state school that was more expensive than he could afford. During his second year of college, even with his parents' help, Christopher had to take out student loans and work 2 jobs just to pay the tuition. He knew something had to change. So he moved closer to home and is attending Houston Community College, where tuition is more affordable. He is now taking classes that support his dreams of going to business school and has been accepted to Texas Tech for fall semester. I also see it in Jenny, a middle-aged mom of a newborn daughter. Jenny works full-time, mostly at night and on weekends, so she can spend a few moments at home between classes and work. Her daughter was a big motivation for going back to school. But Jenny had math anxiety, and I certainly can relate to that. And it was a stumbling block when she started thinking about all the math that she would have to take to get her degree. Then Jenny enrolled in Austin Community College in Innovative Developmental Math course, which takes place in a lab the size of a football field. I went to see it last week, and they had renovated an old department store. And honestly, you walked in, and they had 600 computers in this cavernous space. But it was so relaxing and warm. And I told you, I do have math anxiety. But I think they must have brought in one of those feng shui people, you know, that so you immediately feel comfortable. And that's the atmosphere that was created. So, you know, even I felt like I could breathe. And so, in fact, Jenny told me that she enjoys math so much that she wants to complete her degree and become a math teacher. So, yeah, I know. You can clap for her, believe me. In reality, these are the typical community college students, mostly older, juggling work, school, and family. That's also what makes community colleges so special. They're innovative, and they have the ability to adapt to the needs of all students and put them on a path to reach their full potential. One day soon, community colleges will be free. As an educator, I'm proud to be part of an administration that is committed to investing in our students and restoring the promise of the American education system. I have worked with so many of you in this room. As a matter of fact, I kind of feel like I was just saying earlier that, you know when you're in college and you sign up for a course and then the instructor walks in and he said, "Oh my God, Biden again?" Like, I hope you know, I've been in front of you so many times that I kind of feel like you didn't say, "What, Biden again?" But, you know, I gave my first commencement address at Kingsborough Community College in Brooklyn. El Paso Community College joined us at the first ever White House Community College Summit. And just 2 months ago, that must be your table. And just 2 months ago, the president, the vice president, and I joined Governor Haslam at Pellissippi State Community College in Tennessee, where the president announced his proposal to make the first 2 years of community college free for responsible students. So I look forward to working with all of you in the months ahead to provide all students with the opportunity that they deserve to get a quality education. And you know, all of us in this room, we all have our own stories about why we are so passionate about education. So with me, you know, I grew up in the 60s. I'm a 60s girl from Philly. And before Joe, I was in college. I dated guys with jeans and clogs. And my hair was down past my waist, and some of theirs was too. So when a clean-cut senator asked me out on a date and showed up at my door wearing a suit and leather loafers, you know, I wasn't quite sure. I looked at him and I thought, you know what, just one date. But we found out that in one another we had this shared sense of responsibility and a passion to level the playing field. Throughout his career in the Senate and now as vice president, my husband Joe has fought to lift up the middle class, to give all Americans a fair shot at the American dream. The same principle is the reason why I teach at a community college. I teach because I believe that education is the great equalizer. Every day in my classroom, I see the power of education to break down barriers, to open students' eyes to possibilities around them, and to provide them with opportunity to grow into the people who they aspire to be. And you understand that better than anyone else. So thank you again for all your hard work. Congratulations.
Another round of applause for Dr. Biden. One of our strongest and most vocal supporters of community colleges. Thank you, Dr. Biden. I'd now like to introduce Josh Weiner, the Executive Director of the Aspen Institute College Excellence Program. You all know Josh very well. You know that he has spent the past 2 decades as a nonprofit leader, helping a lot of organizations get started, aimed at improving and equalizing educational outcomes. And probably the most important thing that I've learned about spending time with Josh is just how deeply he believes in the power of education to change lives. His commitment to quality and equity is something that I think we all feel very proud of and are glad to have him on board and to be a team member with him. Let me bring Josh up right now.
Well, thank you, everybody. I want to start just by thanking all of the folks who are part of this. This is, we get to have this nice event at the Press Club and invite so many friends and colleagues here, and it's a lot of work. It's 15 or 16 months of pretty deep research, a lot of work for the colleges involved. Thank you all for participating in this. Everything we've learned is about what you've taught us. But in order to make that happen, we have to have the resources and expertise. So let me start by thanking, and you see them here, the Bank of America Charitable Foundation, Joyce Foundation, Kresge Foundation, and the Lumina Foundation, who are supporters of this year's Aspen Prize. Thank you. Second, we have 3 stages of selection, and that requires 3 different groups of experts. We have a 9-member data advisory panel, co-chaired by, one of the co-chairs is here, Bill Trueheart, who's been a special friend to the prize since the beginning. We have a 15-member selection committee of experts who are, you'll see them reflected here, a range of folks who are experts in practice and leadership as well as research. We have 5 expert site visitors who have delved deeply into data and practice at colleges. This is a labor of love. We give them a stipend, but it's nowhere near their daily rate to come with us. We like to think it's educational for them as it is for us. And we've got a 12-member prize jury, an 11-member prize jury. You see them represented here. And the third group is that we've had a lot of partners in this throughout. So the Aspen Prize is a research project. We really have 3 goals. One is to elevate the sector. A second is to help define excellence in the sector. And the third is to replicate effective practice. Well, in order to do that, you need really strong folks in communications and in the sector itself. And we're proud to have the American Association of Community Colleges. Walter is here, as well as the Trustees Association. Noah is here today. Dr. Biden's office has been supportive throughout, the U.S. Department of Education. So these have been our partners all the way through. Last but far from least is a core group of staff and consultants. Really, they might as well be staff as much as we lean on them, who have been responsible for making the prize happen. So first and foremost, we don't pay attention to the people who are really doing the work in the trenches. I know all of you at colleges and other organizations know this. Leah Arsenault has been a remarkable manager of the prize, and Tiffany Yoon, a remarkable program coordinator. Let me just thank them. And among the many experts, forgive me if I don't mention your name, Dr. Patrick Kelly from the National Center for Higher Education Management Systems, Rob Johnstone from the National Center for Inquiry and Improvement, Linda Pearlstein, an independent writer, and Andy Burness and his team from Burness Communications have been just remarkable partners. So in 4 years of leading the Aspen Prize, I've had the privilege of working with that whole team in a number of ways. One is we dive deeply into data. We look at national data, but we know the limitations of the federal data set on higher education. For those of you working to fix that, thank you. So we get institutional data as well. But we also get data from state unemployment insurance systems to see what the actual outcomes are for students who graduate. We work with the National Student Clearinghouse to make sure we have transfer data as well. So there's a lot of quantitative data we gather. We gather a whole bunch of documents. We look at strategic plans and program review and a lot of other things. Most significantly, probably, in addition to the data, is that we spend a lot of time talking to you all on the college campuses. And this is where we really figure out what you're doing to achieve the exceptional outcomes that you are. And through all of this, we've learned an incredible amount about the variance in the sector. And this is one of the things we're reminded of daily. We have rural community colleges and urban community colleges. We have large and small. I think maybe the most salient difference is we have colleges that are more focused on career and technical education, helping students get directly to the workforce, and comprehensive ones that are also doing a lot of transfer work. And in doing the assessment we do, we have to take account of those differences. So we're always looking at the context in which colleges are operating. But I think that notwithstanding all of that, what's so remarkable is that there is something through all of that called community college excellence. That there are common things that these colleges have in mind. We actually brought, after the first two cycles, between the last cycle and this one, all of the experts who had worked with us together in our site visits and said, what makes for a great college? And what was fascinating through a multi-week process culminating in a full-day planning session and review session was not once did people say, well, what makes for an excellent rural college is different from an urban one. What was most fascinating was we didn't hear that what makes for a great career and technical education college, one that's directly aimed at the workforce, is really that different from a great college that's aimed mostly at transfer to four-year colleges. So what is it that these colleges do? Well, there are really 5 things that we've identified that make for great community colleges. And I'm not going to go into these. I'll just leave that up there for you to think and talk a little bit about. What I will say is that all of these colleges are starting with the end in mind. These colleges are asking, where are students going? They're going to the workforce, they're going to transfer. Let's align what we do to those places. These are colleges that are not merely borrowing practices from other places. They are borrowing practices from other places. We can't invent new systems everywhere, but they're building cultures defined by student success. You know, very often we like to tell stories about the community college students who are successful, and those stories, as we heard from Dr. Biden, are very powerful, and we use them as well. The challenge is, how do we marry those stories with a real look at data and driving institutions to look across the institution at what's happening not to the students who are successful that we can be so proud to have helped, but the ones who aren't being successful. And how do we think about strategies? What these 5 things do is they enable strategies that are scaled and sustainable, that aren't just grant funded, that aren't about 1,000 different initiatives, but are about cohering around things that really move the institution forward. So in a few minutes, you're going to get this publication, which will tell you more about that. I'll stop in terms of talking about what these colleges do. You can buy What Excellent Community Colleges Do as well. That'll tell you a little bit more about that. What's most important about these 5 practices is what they add up to. So you're going to hear today about colleges that have doubled graduation rates. Doubled. You're going to hear about colleges that are achieving graduation rates that are above the national average for all colleges, for all 4-year colleges and universities, not 2-year colleges and universities. You're going to hear about colleges that have eliminated the completion gap for majority and minority students. You're going to hear about colleges whose graduates earn on average over $45,000 a year in the year after they graduate, which is 50 to 80% more than all other new hires in the region. Those are the outcomes that are in reach for all community colleges. So let me end with my final thanks to the faculty, to the staff and leaders at the 10 finalist colleges, and to the winners and those who will be recognized today. You've taught us a lot about what excellence looks like and how it's accomplished. You've also taught us that it's not about becoming a perfect college, but always striving to get better at learning, completion, labor market, and equitable outcomes. And you've proven that what colleges do matters. Too often we point our fingers at K-12 and say, well, we can only do so much with students who come underprepared. What you taught us is that students have the right to fail is not language that can be used at a college that is interested in all students succeeding. You've taught us that the values of broad access and high levels of student achievement can be, at scale, achieved at the same institution. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Our panel's going to come up here. I'm going to let them kind of get settled and get mic'd up, so we're going to get ready to start in a second. Just wanted to say, as we get ready for this panel, you heard Josh talk about some of those key elements, and you all know very well back at home and at your community colleges the importance of the data and the numbers and the analysis and the analytics. But we know at the end of the day what's really is most important are the stories. And so what we want to do now is to move into a panel to kind of hear some of the real stuff. I think right now with us at PBS, we're working with our GMs who lead our stations to think about leadership in a different way. Ron Heifetz, who a lot of you know who's out of the Kennedy School, has talked about this notion of adaptive leadership, which is just a fancy way of saying that there are a lot of problems that we have at our organizations, at our institutions, that can't be solved easily, right? You can't step up as the president and just say, I'm the expert, let's get it done, here's the easy answer. We know the tough questions, and we know that we have to work with lots of folks to try lots of different things and see what's going to work for our students at the individual life, in their lives, what it means at the institutional level, to experiment, to learn from each other. And we know that learning from each other becomes one of the most important ways we change and move forward as a sector. And so what we wanted to do today was to make sure you got a chance to hear from some folks who are in the midst of it and what they've been going through, learning from their own experiences at their colleges, both at the student level, helping run stuff at the community level, and as an instructor as well. So let me introduce you to our three panelists today. I've got to my furthest left, he's right here. And also, this is just so you know here, he's going to become a lawyer. So for all the law firms here in D.C. who are here right now, you're going to want to recruit him by the time we're done with this panel. But Justin Jackson, who is a graduate of Western Kentucky Community and Technical College in Paducah, Kentucky. He's now attending Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. To his right is Angela Rios, the director of, you're going to clap for her, right? Going to clap, right? She was starting to kind of get you to clap, right? Who's the director of student success at Ostos Community College in the Bronx, New York. She also told us ahead of time that as a New Yorker, she loves to talk. So be ready to hear all her stories. And then I got right next to me here Brooks Jacobson, who's an instructor at Lake, in case you can, he's right here. He's going to be really doing well with his institution because he's wearing it. Lake Area Technical Institute in Watertown, South Dakota, where he teaches both robotics and electronics. And so let's have a big round of applause for our panel who's here today. I wanted to start off with you, Justin. If you could tell us a little bit about kind of your journey, how you kind of got to the college, where you were at that point, and just help us as you get started.
Well, when it comes to West Kentucky, when I first started, right before then, I was in Chicago. My grandmother got ill, and she was coming to her last days, so I went there to be there at her side. And right before her passing, she had me promise to her, you know, go to school, get your education, be able to take care of the family, and and promise that I graduate. And so after that, I returned back to Paducah, where I started working, and a gentleman named Mr. Johnson came into Subway where I was working, and they was having an enrollment blast. And I just saw the shirt, and I was like, oh, you work at the college. How's everything going? And he was just, oh, we have an enrollment blast. You in school? I was like, no, but I want to. He was like, well, what are you doing Thursday? I was like, I get off at 3. He said, well, we're going to be open until 8. Come up there, we're going to get you all signed up. So I got off at 3. I walked up from Subway to the college. By 6 o'clock, I had my schedule, and I started school. But before attending West Kentucky, I did attend another college, Western Kentucky University, and like I saw that, you know, financially, I just couldn't afford it at all. School finance is all coming from me. I have no other help. And so just financially and everything, I never thought I'd actually ever graduate. I never thought I'd actually have a college degree. And I just got my associates and now I'm at a university.
So I wanted to ask you, because I think, I think Angela, I don't know, myself, there's a lot of us, Brooks maybe as well too, the first ones who are kind of going to college in our families, we don't know any of this stuff. So as you were thinking about kind of making that move even into college at the beginning, what did you know? I mean, what was kind of your sense of what you were needing to do just to try to even get into college?
I knew absolutely nothing. I'm going to be honest. I knew in high school, college is something that smart people go to do, and you go there, you're going to get a good job, and so when like I said, when I went to West Kentucky, I did not know. My biggest problem from not going to school earlier is I just didn't know how to get in. I didn't know what steps to take. I just like college. I hope I do it one day, And then, like I said, with the enrollment blast, it actually took me literally step by step by step on everything, whether from applying to the school to getting financial aids to taking the compass test to signing up for classes. And I mean, that was my biggest challenge of school was enrolling in school, so.
And when they started to kind of help you, I mean, your advisor in particular was kind of helping you go through these programs and learn about the system. Tell us a little bit about once you actually were now into it, what were you doing to try to be successful, to kind of get through, to kind of make it?
My advisor, Dr. Garricky, he was a phenomenal guy. When I first attended West Kentucky, I was just, let's try it, see what happens type of attitude. I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't think I was smart enough for school. I mean, I've never been a smart guy. I've never been a guy that was ahead of the class or anything like that. And so it was 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 a.m. microeconomics. I'll come in. He asked me, what's my name? I tell him my name. Never forgot my name from that point on. And then as class went on, he was like, you a first semester student? I was like, yes, sir. And he said, well, this class is typically not for first semester students. This is a more complex class. But I think you can do it, stick with it. And if you have trouble, we can meet later or whatever. And it actually became an easy class for me in math. I'm pretty good at math. And so, like, as we went on, I was like, man, I can actually do this. I'm actually getting an A in this class. I mean, and then afterwards, and I just figured it was an easy class. Everybody does great in economics. And then he was like, that's most people don't understand this, Justin. And I was like, oh, really? So what's wrong with me, So after that semester, we kept going, and he actually became my advisor. He sat down with me. We mapped out exactly what my plan was, which was at first being an accountant. And I figured I'm good at numbers. I can add, I can subtract, multiply, divide. I can do numbers. Accounting is the way to go. And after my first semester, he was like, not saying you can't do it, but I don't think accounting is where you want to end up. Most accountants are introverts. They're to themselves.
You're accountants out there.
No offense. But I love people. I love to talk to people. I like to meet people. I like to understand why things are going on. And he was telling me I would have I could be an accountant and it would probably be boring to me, but I would have a more exciting time with a more exciting career if I chose a different path just because of who I am. And then that led me to thinking, well, I'm really good at this economic thing. Why don't I try that out? And so one thing led to another. I was like, well, maybe I was on a debate team, and I was like, maybe I should try to be a lawyer. And he was like, you will be a phenomenal lawyer, because we argue in class a lot about different things. But and so we sat down, we mapped out the road of where I need to go. So now I graduated last semester in December, and now I'm at SIU, and it was just the whole transition, just me being in a university, it just like mind blowing, because I always dreamed of doing it, but I never actually saw that vision coming true.
So I think that now, say you go back home to Chicago, and I'm thinking about folks you grew up with, maybe kind of family members. Now that what you've gone through, what you've learned, knowing that you didn't know anything when you started, if you could go back to them and kind of say, here's what you need to do, or here's what could kind of help you make it, what would you tell them?
That's an easy question. I do that already. I just came from Chicago last week, and I saw my nephews and my nieces, and they're all in school now, and they was actually in school. They come home, first thing they got to do is their homework, and they're at the kitchen table doing their homework, and they're not understanding how to add fractions, or they're not understanding how to multiply. So I'm sitting here and I'm showing them how to do it, and I'm like, you can go to college. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you can go to college. Look, you graduate high school, I will get you in college. I promise you, I will get you in college. That's a promise I know I can keep. Because now I see how easy it is to actually start school, you know? And my younger sister, she just started at a community college. And when she first graduated, she wanted to go off to these big name universities. And I was like, that's a lot of money. You can come here, get your education free. And it's a great education. And then when you get there, you're more advanced. Now in class that I'm in now, I'm ahead of most of the people in my classes. And I'm just happy I got to understand it. I never saw this dream coming true. So
That's great. And when will you be finishing up?
I graduate with my bachelor's in 2016 of May. So this time next year, I'll be getting ready to graduate with my bachelor's and going into law school.
And then a law school.
Yes, sir.
Big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for sharing that story. And Angela, I'm thinking, for you at Ostos in the Bronx, we all know, if you know the lay of the land, toughest statistics and demographics in terms of the congressional districts across the country, working with a lot of students like Justin who aren't knowing kind of what to even think about as they're kind of jumping into. And I know you have your own kind of experience. I'd love to kind of hear a little bit about kind of what you've been doing and kind of your own experience about how you kind of, and what you're actually doing to help folks like Justin.
Well, I would like to thank you for sharing your story. It's definitely very similar to some of the experience that I've had working with students at Ostos Community College. With the demographics of the area in which we live, we actually do have a high immigrant population who are language learners. And so for us, there's the initial challenge of enrolling, right, and letting them know that education is possible for them. But then there's the added challenge of helping them to stay in school. And that's really where the work of the success coaches have come in. Our students are very brave. They encounter things like homelessness, domestic violence, being the only person in the family to support an entire family and having to work many hours to do that and trying to balance an education with that. So our students do encounter a lot of difficulties. Lucky for us, we have a president with tremendous vision. We have support services like Single Stop that help our students to secure shelter. Sometimes it's a matter of us working with the larger community to ensure that our students are in an area that's safe. It's not a question of skills. It's a question of being in an environment that they feel empowered and that they feel that they can thrive in, which unfortunately is one of the greatest challenges that our students are facing, is being in a space that they feel, like Justin had articulated before, that this is something that is possible for them because they don't have that role model at home that is setting the tone for this is how you go to school, this is how it's done. So I really feel very honored to work with students who really want to make a difference, not just for themselves, but for their family and for their lives. And they're going to really set the tone for the future of America, because we have a lot of students who are single parents. And the challenge for them is trying to be, a good mom, a good dad. Yeah, and to balance that with now learning how to be a college student, because for some of our students, they've been out of school for a while. So they're coming in with high levels of remediation, not necessarily because their skill set isn't there, but because they've been away from the material for so long. So it's a matter of kind of diving back in, getting those skills up, and really working with them to stay dedicated to why they initially came here.
I wanted to ask you, because I think, we're talking about with so many of the colleges that are represented here today, it's about getting better. And sometimes the good stuff that happens at our campuses can almost stall us from going to that next level. Those of us who know Ostos in the community very well know that Ostos has a deep, deep tradition and history of being connected to the community. But at the same time, there's been the challenge of kind of moving beyond being connected to the community and getting folks through and getting to the next level and getting that certificate or onto the transfer piece. So I'm curious if you could talk a bit more about these specific programs that you're helping run on the success coaching side.
Absolutely.
How has that been on top of what was already a great relationship with the community, but almost an acceptance of not getting to that next level? How has that helped change things?
I'd love to talk about that. In that, I'd like to tell a story about a single mother who actually completed her associate's degree in part of the work that we're doing in the coaching unit with our students. One of the things that our president was really able to do in his infinite charisma was to secure a grant for us to work with single parents so that they're able to balance their going to school with also being a parent. Most of the time, our students are going to school part-time. And so in order to get them to complete their degree within that 2-year time frame, we really encourage them to take summer and winter classes because it's a really great way for them to, one, remain engaged, but also a good way for them to be able to have time to work and to be with their children. With the grant that we secured, it's a 2-generation fund. And what that had allowed Nazare to do was to complete her final course in the summer to complete her associate's degree in early childhood education while her daughter was in a camp at Ostos. Ostos has a summer camp, and it's not the traditional summer camp where they do sports. It's a summer camp where the children are actually learning particular content and skill sets. So it was really enriching and empowering for her to have her daughter in the camp while she was actually going to school. The course was free, and the materials were free, and also the transportation was free of cost. And that's a really big deal for our students because, again, they're going back and forth, they're working, they're coming, they're taking classes. So it really enabled her to be able to have the opportunity to, one, have her daughter educated and engaged in a school environment, but to also finish her last semester. So she's completed her associate's degree now, and she's working as a teacher, which is really an amazing thing for us. So with that grant, we are actually continuing that and expanding upon that so that we can continue to help some of these single parents who want to finish their education and also give their child that really amazing opportunity of having education be a foundation for them from the onset. So those are some of the programs that the community has endorsed and has helped us to fund.
It helps supporting as well, too. Similar to Justin, I wanted to ask you, a lot of colleges are trying to do different versions of a success coach or some of these other programs that you're talking about. But now that you've been there and kind of helping lead some of these efforts, once again, if you had to kind of share with your peers across the country some of the best of what you've learned, Angela, to kind of say, here's what it's not just about success coaching, it's these particular things, what would you tell them?
I would say it's not losing faith. You know, Justin talked about what he had to kind of overcome, you know, in that personal challenge of not necessarily believing in himself and not having that role model at home that told him that it was something that was possible. But he had a teacher who was continually saying to him, you know, Justin, you're doing so well, you're so smart. Some of our students have never heard that, have never heard somebody tell them, you're an intelligent person, or you're really gifted, or you have certain skill sets, and they've never thought of themselves in that light. So with the success coaches, they really work to empower the student and to help the student learn what their skills are and learn what their passion is. Because when you're passionate and you really want something to happen, you're going to make it happen. So my number one thing that I would say is to listen to the support that you have. You're going to encounter people who are going to tell you, no, you can't do it, it's not possible for you. You're going to see others around you who are like you, who are not achieving that and think that, you know, this isn't a possibility for me. And sometimes life does get in the way. You know, community college students, they're very busy. They have outside commitments. They have families. They have children. They have other things going on for them. And sometimes that can interfere with your ability to progress and continue. But it's knowing that the school is there for you. You know, Ostos is very committed to retaining our students, but ultimately helping them to define what they feel their goal is. Whether it's completing a certificate program and going to work right after that, or it's transitioning to a 4-year school. Whatever that means to them, whatever success means to them, really making that commitment to help them to finish despite whatever challenges they incur while they're in school.
Thank you. Big round of applause for Angela and the work that she's doing. All right, so we're going to move from the Bronx over to Watertown, Brooks. And when we think about some of just the different places around the country and what it means when we're trying to get some of this work done, I would love to kind of hear a little bit about both what you're trying to get done for your students. Tell us a little bit about the environment and kind of what you're facing day to day.
You know, Watertown, obviously, listening to these two, is a lot smaller. Right away, I mean, any student comes on campus, right when they sign up, they know exactly what they need to do to graduate. And I think we concentrate a lot more on getting them the job when they get done, not just to graduation. We want to make sure they're employed before they're leaving that door. And it's not just the classes and the soft skill classes and your gen eds. It's you know, last year I think our school is 17,000 volunteer community service hours. We do, I mean, we're really big into volunteering. My classes, you know, robotics, electronics, we do a big Christmas build every year, so a big display type thing. And that goes towards scholarships. We help with STEM camps for middle school kids and bring in 3D printers and robots and stuff like that with those kids. And my students just love that stuff. They just have a blast with it. So it varies day to day, but I mean, we really try to make a well-rounded.
And what got you there? Tell us a little about your story about what got you to that.
I actually graduated 2000. I went straight to the military. I had to pay for college. I had nothing really there for it. Went to the National Guard. I'm still part of the South Dakota National Guard, 16 years now. Through that, I went to state school for about a year and a half, got deployed, came back, said I better figure out a shorter degree so I can get it done before I deploy again. So I went into Lake Erie Tech, robotics and electronics I did. Loved it. They started teaching soon thereafter. I've worked in numerous type manufacturing places with a lot of automation and robotics. And then lately I've fallen in love with 3D printing. It's about the last 7-8 years of my life, and a lot of time on those. But what we do in there is that we actually build our own 3D printers, and that's a passion of mine, is that kind of stuff. So I enjoy being there, and I enjoy being with the students to do all that.
So I know one of the key pieces that always pops up around these kind of programs is around the partnerships, particularly with the business community and just in the community as a whole. Once again, would love to kind of hear specifically what's a little bit different about the way you guys have gone about some of these partnerships that has made it work for you.
I think what we do a little different at Lake Erie is we still have our advisory boards. Twice a year, 4 times a year, they'll meet with us, all of our industry partners for robotics, people who want robotic students. And then from there, a lot of those guys are alumni. They're friends. We see them off and on. You'll get together with them, go fishing or hunting or something, and then you really get to know them as a person, and they get to know you real well. They come in quite a bit. Invited, obviously. They'll email me and say, can I come in this day and just hang out? They just want to come, see what the students are up to. They don't want to talk to them. They just want to go from student to student, kind of see what their projects are, and just hang out with them. And I really see that's a big sense of pride, I guess, with the South Dakota and the kids, and they really get a lot out of it, and they love going to those places to work. The other thing would be, back to the 3D printing thing. Last year, we recommended to the board, middle of the semester, we should really do this. Make a 2-credit class where they build a 3D printer from scratch. And we were all for it, so we called up, emailed all the advisory board. Next day, we had the class changed, and new class is going, and we've seen a dramatic increase in just troubleshooting confidence and abilities, and it's just been great. And they're fun to work with. They're guys you can count on. And I need a piece of aluminum, I call them up, and here you go, we got a chunk here. So they're fantastic. So.
I want to ask you that both because you went through the program yourself.
Yes. Yep.
And they're kind of now helping lead it. what's kind of the best of the past from when you were there that continues today? And then I'm curious, so was, the best of the past that's still happening at Lake Area? And what's some of the new stuff that you think, since you've been there as a student, that now has been added to keep moving forward?
I think some of the best stuff in the past is our, we're very close-knit, the whole school. Our culture there is very different from other schools. I went to a state school as well afterwards, and it's just not the same when you go to those places. There, it's everybody knows everybody. I know everything about, probably more than I need to know about most of my students. And they're great, and you become a family. Your alumni constantly are texting and Snapchatting you and all sorts of stuff. So I got many Snapchats on the video feed because I walked in front of the camera earlier. So it's fun, and it's fun to hear from those guys and see those guys. New stuff, I would say it's nice that we've added some newer technologies. We continuously are adding more technologies, and then we're trying to get away from all the hardcover books. We have 3 books in our program we're planning on doing next semester, the whole program, and the rest of it's just going to be our own material. So we're trying to make it a cheaper way to go for these students. I'm hoping it works out very well. So.
Big round of applause for Brooks on this one. So I just wanted to say thanks to all 3 of you, but as you heard each other, any kind of final thoughts, something you didn't get a chance to say, particularly as you've heard from each other, both coming from the experience as a student, someone who's working on the administration side of some of these programs, or as an instructor, any final words that you guys would like to kind of share with folks that you didn't get a chance to say so far? Justin?
Final words. One, my final words would be just thanks, just the belief, just the opportunities, because like I said, growing up, I'm gonna graduate college one day. That was something I always say but never really believe, So just thanks just for the opportunities and all the doors that are being opened, and just how my whole life has changed from this to a completely new life, and what I actually can see a future instead of just doing the same routine every single day.
Angela?
I would just say for everyone in the room, thank you as well. I'd like to echo that sentiment, but never to underestimate the impression that you leave on students in the jobs that you do. They're all very important. Whether you're, a custodial worker or you're the president of an institution, everyone has the opportunity to impact change within a student and within a person. And whether you realize it or not, everyone is doing that.
I'd just like to thank you all for the opportunity. We've come through this before, and it's just a wonderful thing. This Aspen stuff has been great for us, and everybody keep working hard, man. I want to thank my instructors, the ones that got me here. So it's same kind of routes, It's a small world when you start talking about stuff like this. So thank you.
Thanks to all of you again. Big round of applause for everything. All right, you guys. Great job. Good job. Thanks, you guys.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Caroline Altman-Smith. I'm a senior program officer with the Kresge Foundation based in Detroit. And thank you to that marvelous panel. Your stories really brought home, I think, for many of us in the room, why it is we do the work that we do every day, trying to help make sure that more community college students have a chance to pursue their dreams. It's a pleasure to celebrate with you today the extraordinary work of this year's Aspen Prize finalist colleges, and I always feel like this is the Oscars of the community college world, so I know the excitement is building for the big announcements, the crying, the laughing, the running down the aisles, so we're moving in on that soon. But it's also a pleasure, as Josh alluded earlier, to allude to the incredible amount of hard work that goes into this process. And just want to thank Josh and his team for all of their efforts to make not only today possible, but for everything they do to elevate community colleges and their importance within our country, to highlight examples of really strong leadership and the inspiring results that the colleges in this room are achieving with the students who need it most. as I mentioned, the Kresge Foundation is based in Detroit, and our overall mission is about expanding opportunities for low-income people to have access within America's cities to the types of supports and services and chances for them to enter the economic mainstream and really achieve all of their goals. In our education work, this really centers on access to and through undergraduate education, which is, of course, the mission of community colleges. And that's why we are especially committed to community colleges, because these are the institutions that have as their special mission a desire to serve those students who have historically not been well served in higher education. We fund work going on with community colleges and higher education all over the country, and one of the great perks of this job is that we get to seek out and figure out ways to support innovation happening all over the country. And there are a lot of things, good things happening in Tennessee these days, as you may have heard. So it is my pleasure this afternoon to introduce Governor Bill Haslam of the Volunteer State. As many of you know, Governor Haslam is a true education champion. We often hear mayors or governors say that they're going to be the education mayor, they're going to be the education governor, and then when the bright lights of the campaign dim down, sometimes that promise is forgotten, but certainly not in this case. Governor Haslam has made and has sustained that commitment since he was first elected in 2010. He's recently been reelected to a second term. He has really walked the walk when it comes to education. He has used his bully pulpit as governor and many other funding and policy tools at his disposal to make Tennessee a national leader in education opportunity and reform. And that commitment is making a difference. The state has launched innovative efforts like the Tennessee Transfer Pathway and also the Tennessee Promise, which we heard about earlier, to give graduating high school seniors a chance to earn a certificate or degree beyond high school free of charge. This has contributed to Tennessee seeing the largest growth in FAFSA completions of any state in the past year, which is also very exciting. Governor Haslam is working to make sure that his own 4 grandchildren will grow up in a time when all young people have an equal and equitable chance to pursue their dreams of a college degree in a state where policy, practices, and incentives have been aligned in a student-focused and common-sense way that supports success and completion. Hopefully, Governor Haslam will continue to champion this agenda from his new post as the chairman of the Republican Governors Association. We all know, Governor Haslam, everybody in this room, we all know how important this work is, and that increasing access to college opportunity and success is the right thing to do for social justice, for economic competitiveness, and to make sure that every person in every state has the chance to fulfill his or her full potential. So with that, please join me in welcoming Governor Haslam.
Well, what a nice introduction. I ought to just say, I'm Bill Haslam. I approve that message. You all have a nice day. That was terrific. Do you mind just going everywhere with me? Because that would make life simpler. I'm here to thank you and salute what you're doing for this reason. There's a huge conversation around the country today about access. And that's incredibly important. But I love the fact that you're talking about success. That's the part of the conversation that I'd love to see the nation pick up on. And as you know, in Tennessee, we've had a kind of a revolution in access where we said every Tennessee high school student, if you graduate from high school, we'll make certain you get 2 years of community college or technical school free of charge. And we're working on how to do that for adults who have left the system as well. But our hope is not just to having those folks attend, and like I said, I'll talk in a minute about the kind of record number of students filling out FAFSA forms, but to actually have them succeed in what they're doing, because it matters. Let me give you one state's really quick view of that. You know, we have a national discussion going on now about the income gap differential. And regardless where you're on the political spectrum, you can't deny that fact. That's reality. That's fact. And so the question is, what are we going to do about it? And there are a lot of different ideas. One of the things that I think everybody in this room believes is the biggest thing we can do is provide a new set of opportunity for folks who didn't think that world was available to them. Justin, where'd you go? When you talked, I thought, we're trying to create a whole state worth of full of Justins who say, you know, I didn't ever think I'd go to college, and now I know I'm going to. And you don't know this, but I was sitting at the table, and when you got down, somebody said, he's going to do it, and he's going to be a great lawyer. So I think we hear that. So that's our goal. As I see Justin go, we're trying to create a state full of people that think like Justin. I never thought that's not what my family does. I never thought that could be us, and that's what we want to do. But it's important on a national level. I mean, you've seen the statistics. If you take a family of 2 earners and transform them to where they're both college degree, that family that family's income on average goes up $58,000 per year. There is not a government program anywhere that can compare to that impact. And so our goal is, how do we do that? How do we transform to where we have a state of justice? Here's the reason why as a state it's important to us. We know that 10 years from now, of all the jobs that will exist in Tennessee, 55% will require a degree or certificate. 55%. We're at 32% now. Okay, we're a little bit behind the national average, but not that far. I mean, it's a national issue. And so we set off several years ago to change that to where we can say 10 years from now, in 2025, 55% of our population will have a degree. Well, the challenge for a state like Tennessee is we're full of people who think that's not me, that's not us. Nobody in my family does that. Fortunately, when I came in to office, I had experience. Prior to this, I was the mayor of Knoxville. And when I was the mayor of Knoxville, a group of people came to me, one of whom was Randy Boyd, who is here with me today, who's a local business guy, and said, we want to make it so everybody in our county that graduates from high school can go to our local community college free. And I thought, that's a dumb idea. You'll never pull that off. Let's worry about something else. And I was the chief doubter. But oh, by the way, it happened. And we put that program in place, and I saw the numbers immediately transform. So much so that it worked. Of the students that took advantage of that program, 70% were first-generation college students. 70% were kids that were free and reduced lunch in high school. And I want to make sure I get this number right, their fall-to-fall retention rate averaged 71% for those students compared to 50% for that school's average. So the folks who said, well, this is just another program, missed, and by the way, I was one of those, missed it. Because this program was different. Here's what happened in Tennessee that's behind all that. First of all, obviously, we figured out a way to. I should complete to Randy, who was a local business guy. Actually, he's a national business guy. He's a local business that's succeed on national level. I then talked him to come chairing the effort in Tennessee for how do we do this on a statewide basis, and we figured out how to do that last year and announced it. And he did so well that I asked him to come to work for the state full time for free and leave his business, which he did. Be careful who you volunteer to help. Here's the secret behind what we've done in Tennessee. First of all, we figured out a way to financially pay for it where it didn't take general fund dollars. But as you all know, it didn't take that much money. The gap for most kids to go is not nearly, it's the psychological gap. It's not the financial gap that's the big hurdle. And so we figured out how to get over the financial hurdle that wasn't that big. The big piece in Tennessee, and it's a piece that Randy championed, was having mentors for every one of those students. And that's why they completed at a better rate. That's why they transitioned from fall to fall, or they retained at a better rate than they did before. So one of the things I'm most proud of in Tennessee is not just that we can offer the free 2 years community college or technical school, but today in Tennessee we have 7,500 adults who have volunteered to mentor students who have said, I'll take 5 high school seniors and walk them through the process of applying for the ACT, filling out the FAFSA, and then actually helping them as they transition into college. Justin, I'm sorry, I missed your name. Say again? Angela. Okay, when you talked about this brand new world that a lot of students have, we have that. And so one of my friends and by the way, one of the fun things about having 7,500 mentors, like my son's a mentor for almost half of our cabinet is. So a lot of people are, and then you hear their stories. And one of the stories that kind of was the aha moment like that was the friend of mine called his mentee and said, you all set? Classes start tomorrow. Do you all set? Yeah, I'm all ready to go. I'm all set. Said, do you know where the class is? I do. I just looked at the schedule, and it's in the MWF building. Right? So class met Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? But right, if you've never looked at a schedule, that's not yeah, I can see how that would happen. But the mentors are around to get them past that hurdle. So the secrets of the whole Tennessee Promise are, A, it's not that much money to do it, and B, it matters to have a caring adult. It's like everything else in life. Having a caring adult involved in the process changes everything. So we are now working on something called Tennessee Reconnect, where we can reach out. There's 1 million Tennesseans that have some college credit but don't have a degree. If we're going to get to 55%, we got to figure out how to reach those folks. And the challenge is greater because that person is probably a 40-year-old single mother that's already working 40 hours a week. And so we've got to figure out a way to make it easier for her to do this. But we're reaching out with a program called Tennessee Reconnect. And as of this fall, any Tennessee adult, period, can attend one of our technical schools free of charge. Because here's the last thing I'll talk about when we talk about success. And I love it that the formula, and I'm not sure if who's responsible for the formula for the winners are going to get to announce. But I love it that part of it is measuring students' success in once they graduate and finish and actually being employed. The shame has been on us for too long in state governments because as we've looked, and former Governor Daniels, now President Daniels, and I had a conversation, as we've looked at how we allocate capital to higher ed, we've looked at a whole lot of things, but one of the things we never did was say, how are we doing it, people actually helping people find jobs? And we're rethinking how we do that in Tennessee that I think will have a big impact down the future. So let me just wrap up by saying this. First of all, to all the schools that are here, congratulations. The only bad news is I don't see any Tennessee schools there, but I promise you that will change. I promise you that will change. But I do want to congratulate you, and I want to thank the Aspen Institute for focusing on the right thing, for focusing on not just access, but success. And I honestly think as we look at revitalizing our country and changing it to where there's a different set of opportunities, that'll be the key thing. I'm going to end with this, and these are Randy Boyd's words again. We've created a program of opportunity, but we've also created a program of responsibility. In the sense that part of our Tennessee promise is we'll give you the free community college or technical school, but you owe us back 8 hours of community service per semester. And so now the student has some buy-in and some skin in the game. And by the way, it also has created an incredible volume of community volunteer hours that are now being applied back all across the state. So again, thank you to the Aspen Institute. Congratulations to the winners, and I'll look forward to being back here to celebrate with some Tennessee schools the next time. Thanks.
Thank you, Governor Haslam. Another round of applause for the great work he's doing in Tennessee and helping lead for the country. It's now my honor to kind of introduce the two co-chairs of the Aspen Prize jury. For those of us who got a chance to serve with them, you all know them very well, but it's my honor to kind of get a chance to introduce them. President Mitch Daniels of Purdue University, the former governor of Indiana. You all know back in 2011 the work he did to kind of help pass some really sweeping education reforms in the state that expanded the number of charter schools, really kind of gave parents more school choice, revised kind of teacher evaluations, and expanded full-day kindergarten funding. He also, the year before that, worked with the WGU Indiana, which was a partnership between the state and Western Governors University, really kind of aimed at expanding access for Hoosiers to get more higher ed opportunities. And we all know Congressman George Miller, who for a long time had represented for California 7th District, was the chairperson of the House Education Committee from 2007 to 2011. And we know a really important piece of the work that he did and just the most amazing career that he had was really kind of arguing for the passage of the Student Aid and Fiscal Responsibility Act, which he had said and mentioned and kind of made sure that we all understood was the motion of the idea of kind of taking that money that was being set aside for subsidies and investing more in Pell Grant scholarships and making sure that more students had an opportunity and making sure that in that current system that we had, instead of really kind of making sure we were taking care of the banks, that we were going to really take care of our students, that would invest billions of dollars, not just in kind of school modernization, but historically black colleges and universities, Hispanic serving institutions, and to make sure that the bedrock of our country, the local community colleges, were also getting more support. It's also important to, if you don't remember, which you should, that he was also educated at Diablo Valley Community College. So let me bring up our two co-chairs to help us with the next part of the program. Thank you very much.
Forgot three.
the main event has arrived. You know, when the postcard arrives in your mailbox and summons you to jury duty, I hope you're all saying yes, but I know it's not always the most welcome piece of correspondence you get. But when we were invited to jury duty, I think I can speak for everyone who served. This was a tremendous exercise, learned so much, and I just can't tell you what a tremendous job the Aspen Institute staff and leadership has done in thinking through and organizing all of these awards year after year. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. George and I are here to announce the winner of the third Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence. We co-chaired the prize jury of some really remarkable individuals, and some of whom are here today. So please let's hold your applause, but let's thank them as I introduce to you Dr. Anthony Carnevale, David Leonhardt, Delia Pompa, John Schnur, I know Juan Sepulveda is here, Dr. Martha Cantor, Dr. Michael Lomax, Dr. William Kerwin, Valerie Mosley. Thank you all for your participation.
You would have never picked this team to give out an Academy Award. But we're very excited about giving out these awards. I want to join Governor Daniels in telling you that this was a remarkable process. The review of those colleges that submitted to the prize is something unlike I've ever seen. I wish I would have had this matrix early on in my congressional career on the Education Committee. Would have been an interesting time. Today we're here to celebrate 10 community colleges that are finalists for the Aspen Prize. Let us not forget that Aspen started by looking at and reviewing over 1,000 two-year colleges. Their model for assessing excellence in community college performance is one of the most thorough I have ever seen. Getting into the final 10 is a remarkable achievement. We will make awards to 6 finalists that will not share the prize purse, but distinguish themselves among the 1,000 community colleges that entered the prize. We ask each of them to come up and to accept the award, reflecting our admiration for their dedication to student success. Remarkable achievements that they've brought about. Let us begin with El Paso Community College in Texas. A beacon of academic equity and achievement, many El Paso students are the first in their family to attend college. Most of them are economically disadvantaged, and 87% require developmental education so that they can pursue college-level work. El Paso addresses these challenges by partnering with local K-12 school systems and the University of Texas at El Paso to cultivate college-going culture in the early grades, improve college preparation in high school, and put students on a path to a 4-year degree. Over 25,000 students have earned college credit while in high school since El Paso began partnering with K-12 schools a decade ago. And in 2013, 3 out of 4 University of Texas El Paso graduates held credits from El Paso Community College. Since 2007, El Paso Community College has increased the degrees and awards made to students from 2,448 to 4,394, a 79% increase. Through this work, El Paso is investing in the success of its students and the broader community. I would like now to invite to the stage President William Serrata to come and accept this award. Congratulations. Remarkable. Remarkable what you've done with the student population. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Yes. Very light on my feet.
Thanks. Next, we honor Brazosport College, also from Texas. They're a second-time finalist for the Aspen Prize, and Brazosport graduates earn, on average, nearly $67,000 5 years after graduation, 40% more than other workers in their region. Brazos Sport has a long-standing relationship with regional employers, particularly in the petrochemical industry, providing a direct path for many of its 6,400 students to steady, high-paying jobs. Brazos Sport provides support to students through a personalized, proactive financial aid process and a strong tutoring program, and keeps students on track by providing a model college-level skills course called Learning Frameworks. I'd like to invite to the stage and to accept your applause, President Millicent Valak.
Congratulations. I really enjoyed it. Congratulations. You step in. This for you.
Thank you, Bill.
Come back here.
Next, we will recognize Ostos Community College in New York. Belying the challenges that come with being located in the country's poorest congressional district, Ostos has steadily improved retention rates for its students, nearly all of whom arrive needing developmental education before they can pursue college-level work. The college takes a holistic, hands-on approach to address the many social and economic challenges that can be barriers to success for low-income and diverse students. For instance, each new first-year student is assigned a student success coach that provides intensive guidance and support from enrollment to graduation. As a result, not only are Ostos students gaining vital access to higher education, but they're also staying in college, transferring to four-year institutions, and completing their degree work. I would like now to invite to the stage to accept your applause and the award, President David Gomez.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Congratulations. Your business is better.
Our next awardee, Indian River State College in Florida. Indian River, a tremendous example of how community colleges can be responsive to current and future workplace needs, the benefit of their students and the larger community. College has more than 300 partnerships with businesses, schools, public agencies, and medical facilities, engaging students in hands-on training and internships. And the value of this work is best demonstrated through outcomes. Graduation rates 20 points higher than the national average, and graduates earning on average $43,000 5 years after graduation, 20% above the average worker in their region. To accept our congratulations, please welcome President Edwin Massey.
Congratulations. Wonderful.
Really enjoyed learning about your school.
Thank you. Next will be Olympic College in Washington. Located in and around the small peninsula city of Bremerton, Washington, Olympic offers venues for career advancement for many people who would otherwise be limited in access to higher education. More than 2/3 of Olympic students are first in their family to attend college. Olympic excels at consistently connecting students with good jobs, including through a long-standing shipyard apprentice program at the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. Partnerships like this lead to exceptional results. Graduates earn on the average $57,000 5 years after graduation, nearly 30% more than other workers in the region. I would like now to invite to the stage President David Mitchell. Congratulations.
Our next honoree, Renton Technical College, also from Washington State. Located in a working class area of southeast Seattle, Renton serves an unusually large contingent of non-traditional students. 70% are age 25 or older compared to 40% nationally. Faculty keep students on track towards their goals through Washington State's iBest model, in which foundational skills are embedded in professional and technical classes rather than being taught separately. Renton's structured career pathways also help students move to a degree or other credential, with 2 in 3 students graduating or transferring to a 4-year school within 3 years of entry. Please welcome to the stage President Steve Hansen. Wonderful work.
We now announce the winner of this year's Rising Star Award, which will receive a prize of $100,000. This new award recognizes an institution that demonstrates that rapid improvement in student completion is possible even in the unlikeliest of places. The Rising Star winner is Kennedy King College of the City Colleges of Chicago and Illinois. You can come on up while I brag on you.
We're not done bragging yet.
Whenever you get ready, we'll tell them all about you. You should be. Located in one of the most challenged neighborhoods in Chicago, Kennedy King serves 11,000 students, nearly all of whom began with remedial needs. At Kennedy King, educators guide students through structured pathways to clear course sequences that lead not only to completion, but to careers that are in demand in the Chicago area. Every student's progress is closely monitored, with leaders, advisors, and other staff all taking responsibility for keeping students on track all the way to graduation. The result? Kennedy King has more than tripled the graduation rates in a 5-year period, providing hope and opportunity for its community and an example for all colleges to follow. Welcome to the stage.
I know what you're thinking. Yeah, the plaque, but where's the scratch? I don't know. Somebody else will have to give you that.
Wonderful.
Congratulations. Congratulations. So our countdown has proceeded a certain distance, hasn't it, George? The winner for Miss Congeniality, no, sorry, it's the wrong script. We have arrived at the moment to announce this year, and we have 2 finalists with distinction, each of which will receive a prize of $100,000. They're called finalists with distinction because no lesser term applies. They distinguish themselves as the best among the very best. They've set high bars, executed plans to meet them, and then exceeded even their own ambitions. Our first finalist with distinction is Lake Area Technical Institute in South Dakota. A finalist with distinction each of the 3 cycles of the Aspen Prize. This 2-year technical college boasts a graduation rate of 73%, fueled by its highly structured programs of defined courses and hands-on educational approach. So impressively, students from Lake Area get jobs at very high rates and earn on average 50% more in their first year after graduation than other new hires in the region. At Lake Area Tech, you cannot sit in a classroom long before you apply what you've learned in real on-the-job settings, and we heard some first-person testimony to that. Lake Area faculty track student success from the very start and also work with local employees to build and fine-tune their exemplary workforce training programs, providing students with the exact skills they need to be job ready. Let's welcome to the stage Lake Area Technical Institute President Mike Cartney.
Congratulations. Wonderful. Great achievement.
Wonderful job. Like retire the trophy, don't you, after 3 or 4 weeks? Yeah.
Our next finalist with distinction is West Kentucky Community and Technical College. Many community colleges have systems to measure student learning outcomes, but few have taken the work as far as West Kentucky has. Every section of every class has common assessments graded according to the common rubrics. The faculty and staff consistently track student learning and completion outcomes and use the data to inform improvements in teaching practices and programs of study. And as thousands of jobs have left the region, the college has been the primary player in efforts to expand economic growth, providing high-tech, customized training opportunities in growth areas such as marine technology to logistics of operational management. As a result, the college has strong graduation rate and, importantly, no gaps in the rates of students of color. We welcome to the stage President Barbara Vesey. Nice to be wonderful.
And now it's a real privilege to honor and recognize the winner of the 2015 Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence, which will receive $800,000 of the $1.1 million overall prize purse. Santa Fe College of Florida. So okay if I tell them a little bit about you first? Please let me, because Santa Fe is a college that does everything well. The culture of excellence, collaboration, dedication to student success that runs through the entire institution. For students who plan on community college as a stepping stone to university, there are few better places to start than Santa Fe. Nearly 2 in 3 Santa Fe students who transfer complete their bachelor's degree. In fact, in the 3 prize cycles, Aspen has never seen better transfer and bachelor's attainment results. The college addresses regional workforce development needs that nearby University of Florida cannot meet alone in a wide range of fields from the trades to high tech, and Santa Fe demonstrates an impressive commitment to educating students from disadvantaged areas, opening satellite sites to make sure high schools have thriving dual enrollment programs, and pushing for free buses to bring students to the campus. So, with I know the appreciation of everyone here, on behalf of Aspen, we welcome to the stage President Jackson Sasser to accept this year's Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence and share a few thoughts. Thank you.
Point of personal privilege, if I can address the students at Santa Fe College, even before you aspired to what we wanted you to get, this faculty and staff was behind you. This is your award. You did the work, students at Santa Fe College. Shortly behind them would be the employees, almost 50 years of service, faculty and staff, who have given and given and given and have had this exalted notion that every student has a right to the privileges we enjoy in this room. And so it's to you, I'm in awe of what you do every day. This is your award. And to community colleges in this country, this is an egalitarian movement. We did this together. What we have learned together for all of you, to the League for Innovation, of which Santa Fe is a member of the presidents and representatives, Walter, to AACC, this is the best day ever in the American Association of Community Colleges. I started my day this morning reading the Daily, and to Noah with support from ACCT. But it is about Jefferson's idea that everyone has a right to a higher learning experience. And so for Santa Fe to be that symbol this year, we're highly honored. There's a person in the room that represents each of our trustees. How many of the trustees that are represented here, how many of the chairs have said in a convocation, you're the #1 college in the world? I have my chair here, Robert Woody, and actually he said this. He said this at the fall convocation, and he kept telling me, he said, you need to speak this. So I almost went in a closet and said, we're #1, we're #1, but I didn't do that. So Chairman Woody, for your being here, thank you. Thank you. And also in the room are the 3 people that are representing the college today. The provost, who is one of the more enlightened educators I've known, Ed Bonahue. Thank you for being here. Chuck Clemens is out somewhere, the Vice President for Development. The person that was the voice to Aspen, they answered the question and then put it in the context of what this college is about, is Dr. Lisa Armour. Lisa, would you stand and be recognized? This is your award. And then for Josh, you know, around the holidays, you get a gift sometimes and then you give it back the next year. So Josh, I'm not giving this to you. I'm not giving it back. But this is your award too. And it's your award to have a prestigious organization, one of the most prestigious think tanks, to carve out community college work and put us on the front page. And then the thing that you have done for Santa Fe College, we've had success rates for many, many years, but you challenged us to do more. And as I close, we had an associate vice president that was famous for saying, don't let good get in the way of improvement. And to me, Josh, that's Aspen. So we share this award back with you today. But on behalf of all the students, the trustees, the faculty and staff of Santa Fe College, I cannot tell you how deeply honored we are to receive this on your behalf. Thank you very much.
Don't leave without the hardware. Maybe.
Congratulations again to Santa Fe College on the Aspen Prize winner for this year. We also want to say thanks to all the sponsors who made this program possible, to the Aspen jury team for all the great work they've done, and most importantly to all of you who are on the front lines of making sure this really important part of our educational system, the backbone of the economy, the backbone of the country, continues to thrive. So thank you all today for being here to celebrate with us. Our program is now over. Please stick around to kind of say hello to everybody and congratulate everyone, but thank you for celebrating with us here today. We'll see you next year. Thank you very much.
Let me introduce to you Mrs. Ann Denton, who's chair of the Paducah Junior College Board of Trustees. Thank you.
I really wanted #1. But to be second in all of these juried colleges in the United States is amazing. And I thank you all for coming. Tennessee has nothing on McCracken County. We will thank our city mayor, the governor, the county judge, the Fred Paxton Scholarship, all the people who make that available, that we have free college for our graduating students in Paducah, Kentucky. I also would like to thank everyone under the direction of Dr. Veazey, her staff, faculty, groundskeepers, students, and all the people in this community who support this college. And don't forget, you have another opportunity to support this college September the 19th at her scholarship gala. Come out.
All right, I think we're finally done. A lot of great things to celebrate. And on your way out, we have a little gift for everyone. So please stop by and pick up a gift. And let's not be disheartened. Just like Ann said, we're #1. We know we are. That's right.